The pelvic list, like the calf stretch, is one of our foundational exercises. It's a part of the body that's not used very regularly in our heel wearing and our sitting culture. Those actions of really flexing the hip kind of disable that lateral hip from producing a lot of force. So after you have figured out how to stand with a straight leg and your weight can be back in your heels and your toes are liftable, after you've figured out how to shift your weight from side to side and you've practiced standing on one leg a little bit, then we're going to add a greater range of motion, and we call this movement the pelvic list. We're going to start on the floor first. If you put your hands on the front of your pelvis, you'll feel that the right and left hip bone are about the same height. If you shift your weight towards the right leg and then keep your right hand on the top of your pelvis, pushing that side of the pelvis down will cause the left side to lift up. So you can watch that again. I'm going to pull this side down, or you can push it down, however you like to think about it, causes this side to lift, which is different than hiking this side of the hip up with the lower back on that side. You're really going to use the muscles on the outside of your standing leg. Try it on the other side. So you kind of shift your weight over, and then you're going to put your left hand on the top of your left hip, and you're going to press that down towards the floor. You can press your foot into the floor. You can think of pushing your hand to the floor, and this side comes up. So you're lifting and lowering away from the floor. When you stand on one leg using a pelvic list, you're very stable. Instead of if you do it with your knee bent, where there's a lot more kind of fluid motion happening beneath you. So you're going to work on keeping the leg straight, the kneecap released, and this hip engaged. But then we're going to come up to the block. You're going to step up onto a block or onto a stack of books. You can keep your toes against the floor here for a second, and you're going to put your right hand back on your right hip. When you're ready, you can lift your left foot off, and you might feel a little bit wobbly, and if you've never stood on something with a little bit of height, then you can repeat that single leg balance exercise until you get used to being a little bit higher away from the ground. But here, you're going to keep your toes pulled up. You're going to lower your foot towards the ground without bending this knee. So this knee, your standing leg is not going to bend. It's going to stay straight. So all that motion of lowering your foot came from the hip. That's why it makes this motion so nourishing for the hips. Is this really requires all of this lateral hip, glute, hamstring be fully engaged to help control the weight of the rest of your body. We'll do a few more slowly. So I'm pulling up as far as I can, not tensing my waist or my back. And then I'm going to let myself come down without touching. Now, if you touch down, that's okay, but that's a loss of balance and it's a break. So as you're working more towards muscle endurance, you're going to try to keep your foot up, and you're going to try to go those 8 to 10 repetitions without a resting point in between. And then we'll go ahead and switch sides. You'll step up. If your foot is too long for whatever you're stepping on, it's better to have your heel on and your toes off than the other way around. Remember, your weight is back in your heels. So just stand on a single leg for a second and get used to the feeling of being up on something, even if it's only a few inches high. Put your weight back in your heels. Your toes are mobile, right? If your toes are really gripping or grabbing the block, just remember to practice shifting back. Maybe you don't have to do the pelvic list. Maybe you can just stand on one leg again. Put your hand on your left hip and let that right foot drop down towards the ground, and then bring it up away from the floor. And you're watching your torso. See how my torso kind of came this way? So you really don't want a lot of rocking back and forth with the torso. Rather, you're going to keep your torso center, and you're going to move straight up and straight down. So all the movement is from the hips down. There's not a lot of side to side with the shoulders. We'll go one more time each side. Over time, this will show up in the way that you walk, right? As you're carrying your weight on a single leg, your ability to list here allows more room for your leg to swing through when you're walking, so you don't have to pick it up so much and walk with so much bent knee strikes. The lateral hip strength really translates well into walking. So you just do a few on each side, and then switch. Relax your chest, relax your hands, relax your face. And take a break.